everybody, to the Superfuture Zone, the official podcast of Superfuture Syndicate. I'm Anthony Carboni.
I'm Samantha Kalman.
And thank you all so much for joining us here in the zone.
We are deep in the zone. It's happening. It's always happening.
We're trying to make in the zone a thing. But not ironically.
No, sincerely, please join us in the zone. It's endearing. It's earnest. It's just comforting and welcoming. Hey, we have a nice little zone right here.
It's a genuine zone.
Doesn't it look cozy? Don't you just want to come hang out in the zone? It's super futuristic.
Think about it.
Wow. I need to spend more time in the zone with you, Anthony, because what a year.
You have been bouncing around quite a lot. I mean, everyone on the team has had a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, for folks that don't know, we're a game studio. We're making a video game called Versus, Hyperkinetic Aerial Joust, and we announced it. We've been trying to get it out there, going around to trade shows and GDCs and dices and other family related travel.
I picture you in an old timey wagon, like a snake oil seller, but like genuine, not a snake oil, like a medicine man, but not like a medicine man, because I think that's an appropriated term. What I mean is covered wagon, salesperson. Hey, come check out this thing that I made.
There's a term for this. There must be a term for
traveling
a specific
salesman
word a specific word that means traveling salesman of a specific old-timey variety.
Yeah, a traveling salesman, but the wagon is an important part of it. And I feel like traveling salesman doesn't give wagon vibe.
No. I've had traveling salesmen in my family.
Really?
One or more grandparents was a traveling salesman at one point. It's not any traveling salesmen in your family, Anthony?
No.
You got to be the first to break the family curse.
That's right.
Traveling salesman.
I was born to be a salesperson and break the curse. You have been bouncing around quite a bit, like you're saying, to GDC, and you were on Nextlander. You were on the Aftermath podcast. There was a lot of stuff going around.
All sorts of things.
So how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah. If I'm honest, I'm looking forward to a little bit of downtime to just get back to work on the game. I'm happy. I'm doing good, but I'm like pretty tired. I'm pretty exhausted. It's been a lot of stuff. I mean, part of it is like the announcement has basically consumed the first 2 months of the year for me. Like, that just had a cost, going from developing the game to like preparing to announce the game and tightening it up. Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm glad that the game is out there and that some people are talking about it. Some people are playing it. But generally I am like needing right now a little bit of a longer period of restful work, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be back to designing the game, back to like adding new features, solving new problems, like the really fun designery stuff that I love to do. That can be very nourishing.
The actual job and thing that you do and that you like to do, and that is your goal.
It's my favorite of the 5 to 7 jobs that I do on any given day. No, I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a great season of travel, and like we had a bunch of podcasts that came out. A bunch of stuff has happened, as you mentioned, and more stuff will. But just for me, slowing down is the key. Slowing down, getting back to work, making the game better, getting more people to play it, inviting more people to play it. And how are you, Anthony?
I'm good. We did our first play test, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. It's a lot of first times, this experience for me. I've worked on the critics side, I've worked on the promotional side, I've worked on, I've done a bunch of stuff. So I'm very familiar with the process, but a lot of it is first time hands-on. And this is my first time like administering a play test.
Yeah.
Being the person collecting feedback and like asking the questions and figuring out how to communicate with people while they're testing. And it was very, very interesting to me. A lot of my favorite stuff about this is just that I haven't been on this side before.
Right.
I've been as adjacent to it as you can be. But it's one of those things like, I don't want to Dunning-Kruger it, right? Where I look at it, it's like, I've seen how all these things work. And so I can do them all. But so it's been very interesting doing that sort of stuff. I think honestly, doing the play testing and collecting the feedback during play testing, surprisingly, might have been my favorite part so far.
Yeah? Well, you're
Yeah.
such a people-oriented person, like, you strike me as so much more extroverted than I think of myself, and what you just said might confirm that, right? Like, where it's like, "Hey, you got to play it for a while. What did you think? What did you think of this? What did you think of that?" And just hearing from people, is that what sort of observation is that?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think the reason it's so surprising to me is, like, I've always done content creation,
Mhm.
and I've always loved doing it, and so you would think, like, "Oh, the podcast is my favorite part," or making the clips is my favorite part. Um, but I actually, and maybe it's novelty, maybe it'll wear off, maybe we'll get 3 more play tests in, and I'll never wanna go to a play test again. But
Playtests are so over!
play tests are dumb and bad, and I hate them. But right now, I was like, wow, this is really. I do enjoy because I think it's also I do enjoy conducting interviews and things like that,
Sure.
and I enjoy novelty.
I
I've
was
got a
gonna
little bit
say
of
that.
the.
You seem like a novelty enjoyer.
Oh, I'm on specific medication to make me a little less of a novelty enjoyer. You know what I mean? I'm on
Yes.
specific meds that are just like, hey, maybe a little less novelty and a little more doing the thing, and I'm like,
Well,
okay.
I I love that about you, and I love that you enjoying the playtest. I mean, I think that the people that were playtesting is our patrons that were playtesting, and I think I mean, almost all of them were playing it for the first time, and, they all seemed to have a really good time. So, like, we learned and I observed that there's, like, a learning curve to the game. This is a
Hmm.
game about jousting spaceships, in case this is your first episode of the pod that you're hearing. It's really fast-paced, and it's, like, very, like, in your face. You have to be kind of aggressive to play and
Yeah.
very, like, precise. It's kind of a high skill game right now. And, so watching people play it for the first time that are not developers or not in my friends and family network, and seeing how they approached learning and sort of what sort of practice they needed, what sort of time they needed. Um, that to me was really fascinating and interesting. To me, I'm calling that first playtest a success because everyone had a good time and we had a really good discussion. And at the end of it, like when we were ready to break, people wanted to play one more. So we went for about
Yeah.
2 hours.
I think it did really well. I think people really enjoyed it. They were our patrons. Futurejoust.com if you want to head and become a patron and see about being part of whatever tests we do next. But they all seemed to really enjoy it, and it's like you're saying, there is a level of the game is doing a lot of new things, and there is
Mm,
a level of just learning and acclimating that goes along with it, and a particular. We'll talk more about the playtest
yeah, we'll
in a
get into it
bit,
more.
but I will say one thing that I noticed that I really enjoyed is when people lock into the game. It's very interesting because you can
Mm,
tell immediately they
mm,
get quiet because it's a real sport. And so like they're chatting and they're chatting and they're chatting and then they figure out the game and they go, "Oh wait," and they're just locked in. And to
yeah,
me
they're like,
that's a good response.
Yes, and I agree that that's a good response. That's the response I wanted. And to me, it's indicative of what you said. This is a sport. This is like something that I want, to play well, like to have a goal in front of you. It's almost like a Souls game. You have a goal in front of you. You understand how to achieve the goal. Like, hey, I'm a spaceship. You're a spaceship. My goal is to hit you with my blade and not get hit by your blade. But then doing that requires some learning, requires some like intentional focus,
Yeah.
attentive attention. And, we live in a world that is very multitasky and very
Mhm.
like split attention. And so I was actually thinking about this myself after the playtest that this game versus, we saw people and someone even vocalized like I really have to lock in, like I'm like need to put all my focus into like this match. And someone said that, and I was thinking about that later, and it reminded me of, like, there's a couple this is the 3rd game I've made, and the other games that I've made, I think that that's, like, the thread between the games that I like to make, is they all have some kind of way of pulling that single-minded focus in different ways. And I'm learning about myself as I go, as I observe this. So the focus required for this game is sort of like it's like a full body like lock in, following the line, threading the needle, really quick responses, agility, and then quick execution of a plan, right? So it's almost like being a cat following a laser pointer,
Yeah.
like it's here, it's there, it's there. The other games I've made, Centris was this music game that was really about like is a game about playing an instrument.
Yeah.
So the focus there was in listening and in choosing what note you're going to play. uh, the second game I made was this playdate game called Echoic Memory, and it had a similar sound focus. That was you're trying to like compare different sound clips that have different filters on them, so they sound slightly different, and you're trying to like adjust the filters and find the matching pairs. But in all cases, there's like this focus in that you sort of have to let the rest of the world die down or
Hmm.
quiet down rather to be able to really execute on it quickly or well or creatively.
No
And
second screen entertainment at Superfuture Syndicate. We're not here for you to be watching some cooking show slop. Listen, I love cooking show slop.
same.
We're not here for you to be watching cooking show slop and kind of playing a game at the same time. That's not what we're about.
No, Versus is not a single-handed game. You can't be doom scrolling while you watch, while you play. I'm with you. That's the energy we want. It's there, right? So
Yeah.
it's in an early state, so it can mature as the game matures. That play experience definitely want to keep, drilling into that seed, continue to water that seed of focus. As a CEO, this company, one of our motto, our slogan, our goal is to build a better world of play. What does that mean? We live in this world that is very like scatterbrained. And if we can learn to focus, learn to like have that single-minded attention, and do that together, like the game is bringing people together to play together with friends. Those are goals, those are values of the studio that I want to embody. And so getting some sort of early signal that we're achieving one of those is really good news to me. So
Yeah.
that to me says that like the game is doing good. It's still growing up. It's still an egg. And the community is doing good. They got their first hands-on with the playtest. They enjoyed it. And we're going to do another one in I guess a week and a half from now. Early April, we'll do another one. And if you want in on that, futurejoust.com is the place to sign up. And so, yeah, and you're doing well. I'm doing how I'm
Yeah.
doing. Like everything's gravy.
Yeah, everything is going pretty good. I am also excited for your travels to be over and for us to be in more of a head down,
Yeah, routine.
start doing more stuff to you can be talking about the thing or you can be doing the thing. You can't be doing both at once. And
Literally.
that's true of anything that you do.
Literally.
Talking about the thing is good because you get to hear about what people like and you get to let
Mhm.
people know that you're making a thing that they might like. But you're not improving the thing while you're doing that.
Right, right.
And so
There
it's nice to come back and be like, all right, we've shown off the thing. We've gotten some feedback on the thing. Let's drill down and start making the thing again.
Yeah. I mean, GDC ended a week ago today, I
Mhm.
believe, the 19th, and
Yeah.
then my flight was delayed because of situation in the United States and also snowy weather.
Yeah.
And so basically I wasn't back to work until Monday afternoon was when my flight landed back home in my
You
studio.
are one of those people that I think every once in a while, Sam, it's okay that you were forced to take an extra day off.
Oh man, I took a walk around San Francisco. Yo, I walked from basically the MoMA, SF MoMA.
Yep.
I went to the gift shop. I got a little design notebook. I went to a cafe. I
Did you go to
sketched
the
out.
Did you go to the Good Bagels next to the MoMA?
Oh, I missed the good bagels.
Did you
There's good
know? Okay,
bagels.
because right next to the MoMA
Oh
is the
man.
Jewish Museum,
Okay, I
The
missed that
big
too.
the floating diamond, the box that's like the cube that's floating on
All
its
right.
corner
Yeah.
is right next to the MoMA, and it's got that cool like the park that looks like the Zelda save place where it's just like a creek
Yeah.
with like beautiful terraced rocks. But in the Contemporary Jewish Museum, there is a Wise Sons, and I think as
Okay.
somebody who spent a decade in New York, as somebody like a nice Jewish boy, uh, I moved to San Francisco, and I think Wise Sons is the only West Coast bagel.
Okay, I missed
So
Wise Sons. I need to
next
go get some
time,
Wise Sons.
get some Wise Sons. But the MoMA is also gorgeous. What a beautiful way to.
MoMA was lovely. Half the exhibits were closed or unavailable to my standard ass ticket. But I got a notebook, a really nice notebook there. I can show the people at home. This is a notebook that I got at the MoMA, and it is stone paper. So it's not made of trees, it's made of minerals.
That's
And
that's fake.
it's pretty cool.
That's
It's
fake.
not fake, it's real.
We can't like we can't go into it. Like I know we can't go into it. But now I'm gonna have to look it up after we're done. I'm writing down stone paper so I can
Yeah,
look it
do
up
that.
after we're done.
But I walked from the coffee shop where I was sketching out ideas that were on my brain. So I had to like flush the brain, right? Get all the
Yeah.
stuff that had been like swirling around, conversations, problems in the game that I want to solve, like got it all out on paper. And then I walked from basically the MoMA all the way to the Mission District. Took me like
Yeah.
an hour and a half,
That's a walk.
and just like cleared my mind through the gritty streets of San Francisco. And it was a needed rest moment.
That's good. That's a lovely walk too. I don't miss a lot about living in SF, but I do miss walking.
Yeah, yeah. Then to your original point, like, basically, I needed a couple of extra forced days of not sitting at my desk, but as soon as I got back, I've posted 2 devlog updates to our Discord about new stuff that's happened in the last 4.5 days since then. So that's just the kind of mode that I'm in,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to slow down, but also, like, not stop, right?
But the gear changing also helps with that, I think, too. It's good every once in a while to step away because then your brain gets to go back into idea and concept mode.
Yeah,
So so
100%.
so in a way it's good to refill the well or go back to the well and refill the bucket, whatever the analogy would be.
Something about a well and a bucket and water and
Something
leakage.
yeah, and paper and it's made of stone now and nothing makes sense.
It's water
Um,
resistant
it would have to be. It's
because it's not
stone.
absorptive.
I don't
Let's
know.
talk about GDC.
Let's talk about GDC because I think this is relevant to a bunch of the other stuff that
Yeah,
we're talking about today, which is this is a game where when you look at it, you think you know what it is. You
right.
don't. A lot of
Ye
well, I'm not
Yep,
saying you don't because I'm not gonna put that on you, whoever's listening, but I will say a lot of people don't because it is doing new things that
yeah,
look familiar.
right. So this was, like, part of the game strategy, part of the game direction. The game original vision was you're flying a super fast spaceship and crashing into each other head on. And so turning that into a game has had some challenges. So we wanted it to look and feel and be very fast. So we made the ships, the Reavers, we made them look very fast. And they, Formula 1 is a touchstone reference for us. There are some other video games that we've
Yeah.
talked about, Wipeout being a reference for us that sort of evoke this like very powerful hyper speed energy. And so the Reavers look like fast flying ships, but flying faster than the other guy. What's the joke that Conan O'Brien made at the Oscars? Like, Formula One, yeah, Brad Pitt's in Formula One, a movie about a guy who wins a race by driving faster,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is not that game. This is
Right.
not a game about driving or flying faster. This is a game about destroying your opponents with a literal, like, energy blade that emits from the nose of
Yeah.
your ship.
This is
And
two supersonic jets that happen to be fencing.
it's a sword fight at 300 kilometers an hour, head on.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, we made this very intentional that like we wanted the ships to look fast, even though the fighting is the goal, that there's also narrative reasons they look the way they do. And you know, details about the world, like a de-emphasized violence is an
Hmm.
aspect of the world that we're building. But so it's sort of like this, like you know, a great irony, like an ironic aspect of like these ships are killing machines that are super fast, but and the violence is the point of the game,
Yeah.
but it's also not a celebration of violence or aggression. So what's happened was that's how we designed the ships. We emphasized their speed, we de-emphasized their weaponness, even though the weaponness is important. And that's some of the feedback that we got from, you know, knee-jerk reactions of people looking at the trailer around GDC. It happened enough times that I got a little frustrated that I would describe the game to people, and they would be like, "That sounds cool. What does it look like? What does it play like?" I say, "Well, it plays great, and here's what it looks like." And I show them the trailer, and then they immediately say like, "Oh, well, these don't look like killing machines nearly enough. Like, you need to
Yeah.
change that." And I just sort of looked at them, I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, these are intentional reasons that like, they don't look like killing machines on purpose." Right?
Yeah. It comes from a good place, which is you are making a product. You are trying to make a product that the word product gives me the heebie-jeebies, but it is a
But that's what it
product.
is. This is an entertainment
Yeah.
product.
At the end of the day, you're selling something. And at GDC, you have a bunch of other game developers, industry professionals, business people, marketing people, all of these people within the industry that look at it and they go, well, if you want to make a game that is X, it needs to look like Y
Yeah.
because that's what people expect. But why start your own studio and do the exact thing you want to do to follow the rules of if it looks like X, it must be Y?
I mean, if we were a studio that was purely trying to make as maximum money as we could,
Hmm.
as fast as we could, and follow those trends and be part of those zeitgeists, we probably would do that.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're trying to do as a studio. What we're trying to do as a studio is create culture and create new things, new experiences, new ways to bond with your friends.
And the thing
And
about new things is they don't look familiar by definition because they are
exactly,
new. The
exactly.
other problem with new things is as humans, we are going to try to filter them into things that we know. So if it looks like a game that's familiar to us, we expect it to play like a game that's familiar to us.
Hmm.
And so, there's nothing wrong with the feedback that people were giving. It's feedback meant to optimize a game a certain way.
Mm.
It's meant to optimize immediate understanding of a game.
I am always open to feedback,
Yeah.
but I don't think feedback is always, I think feedback is always given with best intentions, but I do think most feedback is, how do I say this? I think most feedback is naive, right? So, like, I remember, and this sounds rude, and I'm being rude. I'm letting myself be rude, but this is my experience and this is my truth, right? Um, People want to push if I listened to that feedback and said like, okay, this is a combat focused game. I should listen to these people, to this feedback, and make this look like like these are warships.
Hmm.
Then the gameplay doesn't match, right? Because there's more of an emphasis on the energy blade, but then all of a sudden it's like, well, why? I want a dogfight. Like I want to like follow these guys around. Like I want to be outside of a course. I
Yeah.
don't want to be caring about doing laps at all. And that it just sort of spirals into
Right.
sanding off every edge of the thing that makes it unique to to in service of making it comfortable and generic and like fitting that form.
Yeah. And that's something we see a lot, right? Where it's like you can only optimize something to a certain extent. Everything is crabs, right? Everything
Yeah.
turns into a crab. Like evolutionarily, evolutionarily, carcinization is a thing. It turns out, the most efficient living being and form for a living being on Earth is a crab.
Wow.
The crab is the most optimized living thing, and on a long enough evolutionary timeline, everything becomes crab.
Okay.
But we don't want crab. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like
I
we're
sometimes
not
want
looking for
dog.
crab. Sometimes want dog. Sometimes want elephant.
Sometimes
Elephant.
giraffe.
Sometimes giraffe. Giraffe, not most useful, not most optimized. Crab most optimized. Right?
Can I tell a story? Can I tell a little anecdote?
Yeah.
So I used to live in Copenhagen when I was working at Unity, and the team that made what's that? Oh no, now I'm forgetting the name of the game. The really scary, like dark one, 2D one from like 2010. The same guys that made Inside, their first
Oh,
game.
Limbo.
Limbo. Okay, so I was talking to the Limbo developers, and they were talking about and Limbo, if you don't know, wildly successful game, incredibly devoted to really beautiful grayscales. It's all black
Yeah.
and white. It's all grayscale. There's no color in the game at all. And
Very
they
picture book looking art, like very like it pulls you in and then does wild and weird things.
yeah, there's a giant spider in the first level. It's very scary. It's very messed up. It's a very cool, creepy game. And they were showing prototypes of Limbo early, and they kept getting feedback in this vein of like people coming from a good place with good intentions, wanting the game to be more successful, more digestible, more comfortable. And they kept saying, like, well, when your character is fully silhouetted and you're walking in complete shadow and all you can see is the little beady eyes, then I get lost and I get disoriented. So like what if you give the character like a red scarf that flows and bounces
Sure.
around? Just to make it clearer like where they are so you have that sense of space and positionality. And they were like, "Well, thank you for the feedback, but we're not going to do that."
Yeah.
And if they had done that, Limbo would have been a completely different experience.
Yeah. And everything comes from a good place, and everything comes from I have a catalog in my head of things that have worked and have not worked within the industry.
Right.
And I want your thing to work within the industry. And so I am going to tell you, I'm going to give you this feedback. Like you're saying, it winds up, it's unintentionally sanding the edges off of
Mhm.
something, but not entirely. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because
But it's definitely
I
risking it.
I think about the evolution of Assassin's Creed. I really loved the first Assassin's Creed when it came out,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed the second one. And every Assassin's Creed after that, I liked less and less. And it's because the first one had a lot of these rough edges, arguably made it a worse game, and it's far from the most successful game in the series,
Okay.
whatever, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I felt like it was a more unique vision because there were less indicators of what you were doing, how you were doing it, what you were supposed to do.
Mhm.
It could be a little awkward to do the things that you wanted to do because the control wasn't completely optimized for everything to be frictionless.
Right. They made this whole thing about like it wasn't a typical controller layout. It was like the Y button was head stuff,
Mhm.
the X button was hand stuff, and the A button was foot stuff.
Yeah.
That sounds way dirtier than I intended, but that's just what I remember.
Yeah. And it was the climbing and the parkour and stuff. It's like you could do it, but it wasn't like, you play a new Assassin's Creed game and you can push forward and hold down A and you're going to be doing flips and going like you'll go
Yeah.
miles.
Right.
They're different experiences.
Mhm.
Neither one of them is incorrect,
Right.
but one of them feels more like what it actually was, which was a pitch for a 3D Prince of Persia. But,
Yeah.
but, um, one of them feels more like a unique and interesting and like one of a kind experience, where
Yeah.
the other one
Yeah.
feels more like, hey, if you're going to sit down and do a comfortable thing that feels cool, this is a comfortable thing that feels cool.
Right.
Um,
It's that familiarity. This is the same thing as like how first person controls really became standardized around what Halo did with the gamepad.
yes.
And now if you deviate from those first person controls being at all different from what Halo did, you're taking a big risk. And I understand that. It's like it's this these conflicting tensions of like I
Yeah.
understand and I want people to play the game and have a good time, but I also want to like encourage a little bit of learning and a little bit of like shaking up what your
Yeah.
expectations are and like that openness of creative experiences that we all can and should be having.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that happens when people give you feedback in particular about this game is the feedback pushes it more towards being a traditional racing game, or
Yeah.
it pushes it more towards being a traditional combat game.
Mhm.
And obviously, the balance between racing, combat, speed,
Precision aiming, yeah.
precision, aiming, all that stuff, that's all something that you've got in your head all the time as you're designing it. And
When the
you know
important
what
thing
that
is like
balance is. You know the
yes.
balance.
And the important thing is that like the first year of the project was in trying to make this balance playable.
Mhm,
And so like now it's playable. Like now if you play the game, then you understand like, oh, this is unique combat that's unique to versus.
mhm.
And this is not dogfighting. This is not pure racing. And, people that have played the game, like, you gotta play the game,
You gotta
right?
play the
Like,
game.
what's that Reggie quote?
That's
"Play the game."
the
Uh,
good pizza and games man was not wrong.
he was not,
He was not wrong.
we all made fun of that moment, but I understand because, like, I'm also noticing, an inclination of, like, people to judge before they play and, like, just play the game. Like, people that have played Versus, like, have great things to say about it. Like, people understand it. I got to play on stream with Nextlander a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it
And, that was delightful.
was
Like
amazing. I was in the chat the whole time as you were playing,
yeah,
and it was very interesting watching as not just, the Nextlander fellas, but the people in chat
yeah,
started understanding the game as they watched it being
yeah,
played.
yeah, yeah, and this sort of that to me, that's a really, really good sign. I mean, these guys are pro gamers, so they picked up the game relatively quickly, but in that stream, we were having some conversations around, like, what kind of feedback am I getting, and I was a little vulnerable in that stream. I was like, "Oh, maybe I should make it kind of a racing game, I don't know," and I think Alex spoke up, he was like, "No, I think the jousting is really good. Like, you should keep doing the jousting, that's the unique thing." And so, like, when people that, like, play it understand it, then I get that feedback from them and people that I trust and have my livelihood in mind and the project's livelihood in mind. When I get that positive feedback, that's just fuel for my fire to say
Yeah.
to all the other conflicting feedback, I hear you and I understand why you're saying this, but
It
we're just gonna keep making what we have even better. Come play it when you want.
yeah, and that's the tough thing at this moment. Um,
Well,
well,
at this moment, it
the
seems like
challenging thing for me on my end right now
yeah,
is, there's only so much of the game to be shown, right?
right,
So that's the challenge is in communicating that this thing is unique. You can't just say a thing is unique. I
right,
mean, you can, but it's going to take you a long time and you're going to have to repeat it a lot.
yeah,
But watching everyone on Nextlander come around to where you were like in the beginning, they were like, man, I don't know, like maybe the racing stuff is cooler, like maybe but as things kept going and people started watching it more, they were like, no, I get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and
that's such a
so
good sign.
there's only so much of that to show off right now because hey, we also only want to show off the best version of the game at any time in the
Right,
best way.
right. I
So
mean,
the
we've
tough thing, it's got to be tough for both of us right now to hang back a little bit.
and it's been tougher because it's been a year so far of showing what we have instead of adding more. And
Yeah.
there's a bunch of stuff that's like right on the cusp of being ready to show. So we'll see more stuff soon. So in our playtest, we have a second map. We've only shown one map
Yeah.
in our trailer and in our social content, in our short form videos, but we have an entirely second map that's been playable for a while. It's
Yeah.
not as beautifully arted or as like finished looking as the first one, but it's a slightly different layout and it's got a couple of other features to it. And we all we got to play test it. I don't remember if Nextlander play tested it with us or not.
They
I
did
think they did.
not.
They did not. Okay.
No, I think we were only on the
The oval,
loop. Yeah.
the classic Circus Maximus.
Yeah.
So on our patron playtest, we played it's a figure eight, right? It's not an oval loop, it's a figure eight.
Yeah.
But that's misleading because there's like height differentiation. So you have to fly up and down to follow the course. And there's like natural obstacles. There's like rock formations in the course that
Yeah.
you need to avoid that create choke points. And these are like things that, we're more like learning about, experimenting with and trying things. And so when we'll probably show that course pretty soon, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But hearing people's, experiences, they got used to the oval, and then they came into this other level with you have to, turn in each direction each lap, and avoid these rocks. Like it was pretty cool to hear like what they thought, like what they enjoyed over uniquely out of each map, what they thought each map did better than the other,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like also fuel to the project's fire.
Yeah. So it's good to see that when people actually get their hands on it this way, that they're like it becomes evident so quickly through play, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
The communication challenge will solve itself over time as we
Yeah.
show more and as we can talk about more. It must, and I can only imagine, like when you're saying you were getting a little frustrated by the feedback, it's like you're walking around an event, you're catching people when they have like 5 minutes, when you're like, you can both say hi to each other in
Right.
between things you're heading to. And all you've got is the trailer on your phone, and you can't like sit them down with it. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't be like, just sit with it for 20 minutes because it's
Yeah.
not that sort of environment.
Right.
But it is the sort of game where like, oh, if you sit with it for 20 minutes,
It'll be the
you
best
wrap
20 minutes of your day.
yeah, you wrap your head around it instantly. Instantly.
Well, one of the and what I liked about the playtest was that people understood how to play well after like their first match.
Mhm.
It was like one warm up match, and then like people understood how to play, and then toward like that last game. That last game was you and I, Anthony. So it was devs versus our customers, so versus our
Yeah.
players, and so it was a 2-on-2 battle, and like what was happening there was everyone started like communicating where we would make call outs, and we would like we would call out targets, we would call out positions, we would claim spaces in like the upper or lower areas, and then like that choke point there would be like conversations around the choke point. And so
Yeah.
that communication and that like sharing and that like talking about how are we going to approach this moment, this like this really short loop of like attacking in this game. I grew up going to the arcades and playing Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And that kind of, even though you're playing against each other, you're like there to help each other learn and get better together.
Right.
And I definitely like had games of Street Fighter as a kid playing against, grown adults, and they would like be giving me tips while they're smacking me down.
There are a lot of similarities. Um, the first one obviously being, just the idea of combat, but also the idea that there is deeper combat than you think when you first see it.
Mm.
When you first see a fighting game as a kid, or and you first play a fighting game as a kid, there are buttons that are labeled punch and kick.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you can punch and kick. You know how to punch and kick, right? That is pretty evident. The idea of just blocking at the right time, the idea of blocking low versus high, the idea that you can throw out super moves, the idea that you can, all of this stuff comes to you more as you play. Okay, this is my punch, this is my kick. Wait, how did that guy just beat me with a fireball? I didn't even know fireball was an option, and I'm dead.
Right. it's learning through like observation, but it's also, I mean, my experience was this like very sportsman-like sharing of information.
Hmm.
Like someone say to me, "Hey kid, you're blocking my standing punches, but if I do a low kick and I sweep you, you have to block low." And I'd say, "Well, how do I block low?" Because I would hit down, but I would still get hit. And they said, "Well, you have to
Yeah.
hit away and down like the diagonal." We're learning through friendly competition, and we're creating community through like shared knowledge and shared skill building and shared interest in a thing that brings,
The
it's like a glue that brings people together.
Yeah, and the thing that I really love that I think is very Street Fighter-ish, very fighting game-ish about it is the waiting, the quick combat, and then the waiting again,
Yeah.
right? And in
Yeah.
Street Fighter, that is you put your quarter down on the machine, you wait your turn, you play in a fight, you win or you lose, you put your quarter back down on the machine.
Mhm.
In Versus, it is okay, we're coming up on them.
Yep. What's your
We
angle?
we
Where's your
have our
blade?
we have our decisive joust, and then we have a little bit of time as we're going around the track again to talk to each other,
Mhm.
to figure out what went wrong, to figure out what went right, and then it's like we
Yes.
put our quarter back down on the machine again.
Exactly. And that's an 8-second loop in
Yeah.
Versus. It was longer, right? Because, like, the original intention for the game was, like, there'd be more strategy to discuss and more, like, plays to, like, explore and more positions still need there's still more of this stuff to add to the game, right? We're still have
Yeah.
a very small core, but, like, the feedback from playtesting early was, 30 seconds between jousts was just too much downtime. And
Yeah.
so now it's basically 8 seconds or shorter between jousts. Now, as new features come online and there's more supporting elements that change the context and change the strategic options for like how's that joust going to get approached, how's that decisive
Mhm.
joust going to happen, then that space can grow again. But
Yeah.
right
Things
now,
like
it's
things like
pretty minimal.
items, things like course features, whatever's coming
All
in the
sorts of
future,
stuff,
who
all sorts
knows?
of ideas that we don't want to announce anything today, but
Yeah.
things in process.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because going back to this being me taking the feedback from the test from people.
Yeah.
I have taken a lot of feedback on other creative things. So at least I didn't go in going like, well, every piece of feedback is actionable and every piece of feedback means exactly what the person said, right? That's a trap that people can fall into.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which is not to say that we didn't get good feedback. We got great feedback. But it's very interesting because some people were like, I need more downtime before I joust.
Mm.
Some people were like, I need to joust more often than even this
Yeah.
so I get used to it.
Yeah.
And it's all of this different stuff where you're like, okay, well, what does that mean in aggregate about
Yeah.
how it feels? And what does that mean in aggregate for the game itself? One of the
It's great
things
questions.
one of the things that I found particularly interesting was after a couple of the rounds, we were like, "How comfortable do you feel with the controls from 1 to 10?" And people's numbers kept inching up every time, right?
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
something that like in the beginning might lead you to think, well, maybe the controls are a little too complicated. As those numbers start inching up, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
And what the
maybe
converse
not."
exactly, and what the conversation that was happening from as a result from that question was, well, I'm understanding the controls, and I'm comfortable with, like, what the controls are doing, but y putting those controls to effective use
Yes.
to get the consistent dominating my opponent consistently in the game, that I'm much less comfortable with. Like, I feel like I have more practice to do. I have more learning to do. And so, like, that being part of the conversation was also incredibly revelatory. All
Mhm.
really good signs that, like, in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's all really, really good, healthy signs for the game.
Yeah, and to go back to that sort of that learning experience, then you get to an actual like FGC tournament and you watch
Right.
the really deep stuff that people are able to do at a split second.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were we were really talking about with people as they were playing is, just gentle reminders that like, hey, you can use all this space, right?
Mhm.
Like, okay,
Right.
it looks like you've mastered flying and turning and using the blade at the same time as flying. did you know you don't have to be on the track? You have the ability to use all of the space
You
in
can
the
use
air
your
above the
height.
track.
You can use your 3D space. You can
Right.
joust, you can drag the blade below you, or like you can attack from above. You don't have to
Yes.
always be hugging
And
the ground.
adding all of these little things like, remember, you have a teammate. Where is your teammate right now?
Yeah.
Remember, you have this, and not like
Not in like a
something that I
pedantic way, just in like there's
no.
so much there's so much learning that's happening that's like it's
Yeah.
easy to like see or remember a thing and then forget immediately because there's other
Yes.
things pulling your focus really strongly.
The same way it's like, hey, remember, this is how you do a fireball. This is how you block. And it's a new language that you learn until you've played a bunch of one fighting game or you've played 18 fighting games, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which wasn't a thing when Street Fighter came out. When Street Fighter came out, it was you played Street Fighter,
Yeah.
you know?
We're talking
And
about
then,
transferable skills. Yeah.
yeah,
Street Fighter
exactly.
folds into Tekken in some ways, but not others.
Yeah, but
Soul
it's
Calibur, not others.
when Street Fighter was completely new and novel, you did not have this all of these like background learning, like you're saying, transferable skills.
Right.
I can sit down and as long as the game, the first person shooter has 90% similar controls
Right.
to stuff I've played before, I can sit down and comfortably get into it and think about strategy. When you're playing something new,
Yeah.
it is good to get those reminders. And I was like, well, I don't want to helicopter parent these people.
Right.
I don't want to be like, remember to use your roll. Remember to drift around curves. You're doing so well, but like, yeah, but at specific times you want to be like, hey, looks like you're doing really well with this.
Yeah.
Maybe try adding this skill on,
Yes.
and
Yes.
watching
Yes.
how in just a couple sessions, because we didn't play for even 2 hours, just a couple sessions, people were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, totally,
like
totally.
like it just happened.
Well, I mean, there's transferable skills from other games to this. There's
Yes.
transferable skills from driving and racing and flying games to go fast and make your turns and follow your
Mhm.
lines. There's transferable skills from your Street Fighters, your Tekkens, your no, what's the fencing game? The 2D fencing game with the Nidhogg. The Nidhogg.
Yeah, Nidhogg.
Nidhogg. There's transferable skills from flying and racing games. There's
Yes.
transferable skills from fighting games like Street Fighter and Nidhogg. But really, I think that when you're the way Versus puts them all together is just I think it's a new genre. And
Yes.
that's kind of a point that we haven't really been drilling, that this is a new genre of game and it requires feedback that understands good feedback rather is going to
Yeah.
understand that this is a new kind of genre.
Going back to the GDC feedback, there is realistic and understandable risk aversion, which is okay. It's
Yeah.
okay because risk aversion is
Well,
an instinct that people have to help you, right?
100%. And we sort of like, because of various pressures that are on games as an industry and game developers, we sort of expect and require games to sort of hatch fully birthed, right? We
Mhm.
expect them to appear in their finished, final, most perfect, most pristine form. But I think it's easy to forget that games grow up over time, right? Like people don't remember this fact, which is that combos in Street Fighter were like something that were an accident.
Yes.
Like they didn't add the combo meter, like 3, 4, 5 hit combo. They didn't add that stuff until like Super Street Fighter. And the fact that you could get multiple hits in without giving your opponent a chance to fight back was like not something the developers intended. Tetris also had a first version of rules that nobody remembers
Right.
because when they iterated on it and they added this stuff, it grew up over time. Everyone remembers that version. So I'm giving myself and giving our team the grace and the affordance to let Versus grow up in this way.
Yeah, and I think the playtests have been extremely helpful in that. The community has been wonderful. All the feedback so far has been great,
Yes.
and I'm excited to see as you're back and the team is coalescing under development again, how everyone responds to all this new stuff that's going to be coming.
I'm really excited. And I should clarify that the feedback from people that have played the game has been awesome and
It's
on
been
point
great.
and helpful, even when it's critical.
Yes.
And that's like all my kvetching that I've done about feedback today has not been about that kind of feedback. I've been specifically frustrated about feedback from people that haven't played the game and are coming from this place that you say everyone wants to help, and I deeply appreciate that about the industry. But we're doing our thing. The community's rallying, and I'm really happy that people are playing it. We're gonna keep going. Thank you, Anthony, so much for being part of it and for
Yeah. Thank you
helping
for
me
having me
from
as part of
from
it.
stepping on myself too much in these kinds of like showing my whole ass conversations.
No, this has been great. If you want to get in on the next one, like we said, futurejoust.com. We'd love to have you. And also, if you'd like to hear about everything that we have been up to over the last month, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of change. We're going to be putting out a sort of a monthly dev digest next week on the Patreon. Well, by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be
Probably
live.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably be live or about to be live. But
And
we want to,
there's
kind of tell you everything about what we've been doing, and you can see all the progress as it moves along because it's been moving fast.
and if you like hearing even more inside baseball details, we have a second podcast. If you sign up at futurejoust.com, you get access to Into the Verse, where is even more inside baseball about this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, we just did a great one with our art director Isaac about how y'all came up with the reavers and the design of them. And if you're somebody who likes production art and likes hearing about that sort of stuff, it's a great one. So go check out futurejoust.com, subscribe to this podcast, and thank you for joining us in the zone. And we mean that. It is not an ironic thing.
we're in the zone, baby.
Okay, when you do it that way, it sounds like we're making it an ironic thing.
We're in the zone. We're in the zone. We're locked in. We're locked in the zone.